turning away. Global watchmen shining through the gray, from the shadow to the screen. They decode what the silence means. Click subscribe, let the veil be torn. This is the news we've been waiting for. Turning away. Global watchmen leading the way. Every story, every thread, for the living and the misled. Raise your voice, let the signal soar. This is the news we've been waiting for.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News. My name is Lori Swan. Hope you guys are all doing well. Here in the live chat, we do ask to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there. Make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forward to us by the platform utilizing tonight. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, so you know when we go live. All right, guys, it's Wednesday night. That means we've got kind of an off topic. I'm exhausted, so it's not going to be a long show. I was up really early today. Was out working, came home, made lasagna, and after I just had a piece and a glass of milk, and I'm now getting ready to go to bed. But I wanted to talk because there's been a lot of news going on lately about drones. I don't think a lot of people understand that it's not illegal to have drones on a personal level. I'm in a group on Facebook in where I was born and raised, my hometown. And somebody had posted that they had seen drones up in the sky. I guess they were taking the dog for a walk or something, and they had seen drones. And they were under the impression that drones are just military, and they're not. They're used for a lot of things. Just recently in the news, we've heard about Iran using drones militarily, which I'm sorry, but that's brilliant, because they can fly low, they can fly below the radar, they can go in pretty much undetected and take care of business. If you guys have seen it was a dust video. It's over on if you go to Internet Archives and look up Global Watchman News and scroll down, it'll say, I believe it's something like killer drones. And this guy, he's doing like a TED Talk, and he's describing how they can be used in the military, how they can be used to, attack people. They're also being used right now for weather modification. Now, I know a lot of people think that weather modification is a conspiracy theory. When you mention the word chemtrails to somebody, you can pretty much see their level of awakeness by the look in their eye when you mention chemtrails. They immediately go to the whole, those are contrails. You don't know how to play, blah, that whole spiel. We've all heard it, believe me. But the thing of it is a lot of people don't realize that there's patents. There's ways of proving about weather modification, about what's being sprayed up in the sky. I'm going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But for those of you that don't know what chemtrails are, let me pull this up. I believe this is the right one. Hopefully this is the right one. Share screen. Well, if it's not the right one, we'll just switch out because I got two here.
Bluefield.
Oh, it's not the right one. Damn it. I knew it was going to be. I'll share screen. Yeah, I had two here. Of course, I didn't put them in order. Here we go.
May have seen these lines in the sky. Some believe these are concerning chemtrails, and others just call it a conspiracy theory.
My biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. We don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA. And a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel.
Yes,
so, those materials are put in jet fuel. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it.
I have been waiting a really long time to talk about this with you on here.
Okay. So we've all seen those lines in the sky. they pretty much start out. Oops, wrong one. Pretty much start out like this, and we can see them. And within a couple of hours, the sky is just covered. The sun's being blocked out. It's just muck up there, and those are not contrails. Contrails dissipate very quickly. They don't spread out and they don't stay in the atmosphere. Now, I've made a point because I live 6 miles from Midway Airport. Matter of fact, I can hear the planes flying above me right now. They literally come in. I can see in their window them coming over my house. They're going 6 miles to the runway. I know the flight patterns of Midway and O'Hare. Okay, when you see patterns in the sky with 100 different lines like this going every which way and looking like noodles, turning around on each other. I'm kind of half saying this jokingly, but in the same sense I'm not, is that if those are contrails and if those are real planes up there causing those lines, then we have more of a serious problem than them spraying chemicals on us, because we've got a bunch of drunken pilots up there who are going off their flight paths. So, common sense will look at it and question it. And common sense would have you, don't believe the first thing people, when they jump, it's conspiracy theory. We all know that every single conspiracy theory has come to fruition. It has been proven, and this one too as well. So let's talk a little bit about chemtrails. So let's see my notes. So chemtrails are kind of a controversial topic, and for at least for the last couple of decades, it has been. But the cat really has been let out of the bag when it comes to this. So Augustus Doro talked about he did an interview, and he was talking about chemtrails, and he admitted that a lot of it is DARPA. And he talked about how weather modification became a thing back during the Vietnam War. The United States needed a way to make Vietnam not be so rainy and wet. So they started testing cloud modification. You can do it the opposite way. You can also see the clouds to make it rain. They were trying to make it so it wasn't raining. So since the 1940s, we believe it's been taking place. So in 1946, when weather modification was first born, there was a chemist by the name of Vincent Schaefer, and he was working at General Electric with another scientist named Evering Langer. And one day Schaefer had this wild idea to use a freezer and a little bit of dry ice to possibly control the weather. Now, they weren't just messing around. They were seriously trying to figure out how rain forms and whether humans could actually make it happen on command. So in Schaefer's lab, he started working with this little cold chamber that they concocted, kind of like a chest freezer that you may have at your house. They tried to use it to simulate cloud conditions. The problem was that his chamber was not quite cold enough, so he had a thought, and he said, well, what if we were to add dry ice to this? What would happen? will we be able to create, quote unquote clouds? What he was thinking about was the dry ice is essentially like frozen carbon dioxide. So whenever you go outside and you release dry ice, you can see that the smoke coming out of it. And that's what he thought would make the clouds. And he put a piece of dry ice in there, and instantly a cloud formed inside this chamber. The supercooled water vapor crystallized around the dry ice particles, turning into tiny ice crystals. This was a breakthrough, and Schaefer realized that if you put the right kind of particles, also called like nuclei, into the air, you can trigger condensation and maybe even make it rain or snow. So they have been working with this since the 1940s. There are patents. Let's pull up the patents. No, that's not the one. Okay. Process for controlling the weather. So this is a U.S. patent 2550324A. And it was invented by Harvey M. Brandow. And this patent was filed in 1948, again in 1951, and again in 1968. It has expired, but this is one of the first process to control the weather. Devices or methods for influencing weather conditions. We know that if they started something back in the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, they pretty much know what they're doing and how to control it right now. How many times have we watched a storm on radar, and all of a sudden it gets hit by NEXRAD, or it gets hit by HARP? NEXRAD is a form of HARP, believe it or not. And you can tell it on the radar screen because it'll be a flash and it'll be a perfect circle. Watch next time you are watching a radar map of a storm. Watch for those signatures. They're like discs, perfectly round. They can be little or they can be big, depending on the area that they're zapping. But pay attention to that area specifically and the area where the weather's headed, and you will see a difference in the weather pattern. We saw this with Hurricane. I want to say it was Hurricane Harvey down in Texas. About 2 weeks before Harvey formed in the Gulf, we saw that the HARP platform, the mobile one, was being moved from Hawaii, and it passed through the Panama Canal and it went into the Gulf of Mexico. And about a week after it positioned itself there, that's when it hit Harvey. And we saw the exact moment that they hit that storm. And we saw the consequences of it afterwards, the devastation of it afterwards. That is one that stands out in my mind. I've seen other ones. I've seen them in the Midwest where tornadoes have broken out. And right now we're in that season. We're in the tornado, coming into the tornado season, coming into it next month. But we've already had a few of them. Those floods in Texas that took the lives of those girls at the camp, that was weather modification. That wasn't. I don't believe that was natural. That was weather modification. just like the wildfires, weather modification caused by lightning. So this is one of the patents. Here's another one. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, Lord. There you go. I'm sorry. There it is. There's one of them that I was just talking about. Let's pull up the other one. Told you guys I'm tired. I wasn't even lying. I am tired. Here's the other one right here. Patent for A01G15 devices of methods for influencing weather conditions. And these were 1990. Let me go to from 1976. February 24th of 1976. We've got U.S. Patent 3940060, which is a vortex ring generator. U.S. Patent US 3940059 is method for fog dispersion. There's one moisturizing apparatus for use with wind machines. Apparatus for defogging a roadway, land strip, or the like. Organic nucleating agent for both warm and cold clouds. I don't understand how people can call weather manipulation a conspiracy theory when we have these patents readily available to us. I don't understand it, but hey, again, maybe it's not up to me to understand. Another one right here. Weather modification. This is through the National Library of Medicine. I found this one. This is, the inventor was Robert Nolenberg of the U.S. It was in 1966. Was when he sought it. It was granted in 1971. It says, summarizes information in PubChem about patent number US 3613992A. This includes chemicals mentioned as reported by PubChem contributors, as well as other content such as title, abstract, and international patent classifications. But it goes in. I'll put the link for you guys in underneath the video. But this goes into great detail on the chemicals that they spray or spraying, and what the chemicals are and what they could be possibly used for as far as for modification. I personally think that they're doing something else with the spraying of the heavy metals and the desiccated red blood cells. Why would you spray something like that? Why would you put blood cells? Why would you spray that above people? You know? So back in, let me try to find it. I know I've showed this to you guys before. Yeah, here it is. So back in 2008, I was part of a collection team out in Phoenix through Jeff Rentz. Jeff paid for the air in Phoenix to be tested, and we went out at various locations throughout the valley, and we took samples of the air. We always knew that the air was horrible, especially when I lived out in Mesa, and I would drive in the morning to work. I would drive into Phoenix downtown, and it was like we used to call it the brown turd, because it was this brown cloud that just hung over the city. And while you were downtown, you just felt like crap all day. You just felt like you just crappy. And I knew it was from whatever it was that was hanging above us. But being in a valley the way Phoenix is, it's like a bowl. It's a valley surrounded by like a bowl, which is the mountains. And once things get trapped in that bowl, it's hard to get them out of there. You need a really, really, really good windstorm to like move that stuff out of there. Unfortunately, they don't get it very often. But anyway, so we went around and we took samples of the air throughout the valley, different locations. And what he found, what the results showed, was staggering. I could not believe the percentages of heavy metals that we were being exposed to without our knowledge and without our consent. So these are the test results that came back. Now, mind you, this is 2008. Okay. So I can't imagine what the numbers would be now if we did it now. So we took the air samples through air filters, which operated approximately 4 hours during the day and 4 hours after sunset for 28 days. The method used by the test laboratory was defined as ICP scan, inorganic analysis. Short columns in the charts indicate the maximum safe level of the given metal. Tall columns are the measured amounts found in the filter for that given metal. Okay. So here are some of the readings. In this chart, we see that barium is 278 times the toxic limit. Barium, 278 times the toxic limit. Copper was 98 times the toxic limit. Manganese, staggering, 5,820 times the toxic limit. And zinc was at 593 times the toxic limit. Here we have cadmium, 126 times the toxic limit. Chromium, 282 times the toxic limit. And nickel was 169 times the toxic limit. Aluminum was a staggering 6,400 times the toxic limit. Iron, 28,000 times the toxic limit. Magnesium, 5.3 times the toxic limit. Potassium, 793 times the toxic limit. And sodium was 15.9 times the toxic limit. High level of contamination by natural or industrial sources of the alkali earth metal barium has been identified in the ecosystems workplaces that are associated with the high incident clustering of multiple sclerosis, other neurodegenerative diseases such as the transmittable sponge-formed encephalopathies and amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. They also noted that in other places, like Saskatchewan, Massachusetts, Colorado, Guam, Northeast Scotland, demonstrated these levels almost equivalent to Phoenix, and they had an increase in those diseases as well. So they are definitely spraying. So if somebody tells you that they're not, it's a conspiracy theory, just tell them that it's not a conspiracy when it's been proven as fact. Where is, I don't know. Okay, so AI has now entered the building. It's now entered it's now entered the weather manipulation and the environmental aspect of it. So China is now using drones to change the weather. They're using it to see the clouds. Like I said, I think it's pretty brilliant considering that these are small, compact, able to, go up, do the job, come back down. Least expensive. Before you had these huge airplanes, like right here. Here's the I want to say the tubes that sprays this behind the airplanes, and you don't have to do that anymore. It's talk about cutting costs, because now you have something as small as a drone that can go up and do it. And I mean, they can send up hundreds. I mean, look at the what was it? The New Year's celebration that China had. They had thousands of drones that they were controlling at one time to make images, or to make appear whatever it was in the sky. I think one was a dragon. So it's something that they can use to their advantage. Donald Trump just issued a warning for the west coast of the United States, saying that drones could be possibly used by Iran to attack the United States. Now, that's pretty good, considering you probably have to be really close to the United States to get them up and working. But, it sounded good when he said it, I guess. And don't forget the drones. What year was it? 2020. It wasn't last year. 2024 was it, when the orbs and the drones were on the East Coast going through to the military bases or military installations and stuff? We still never got a direct explanation for any of that, let alone for them to admit that it might have been the enemy. Who knows? But drones are now going to enter into the theater when it comes to weather modification or anything else. I mean, when it comes to terrorism, I mean, you've got AI more capable of controlling these machines, more capable than a human, making less mistakes, making split-second decisions when it comes to whether to do something or whether not to do something. And they can free up other people to do other jobs. Just let the AI run. Let the AI take care of it. That's kind of scary when you consider, I don't think it's a good idea to give AI power to make decisions. And I know that it has a programmer, and I know that it puts the parameters in, but here's the thing about that. If you have a 2-year-old child, say your 2-year-old child is the AI. Okay. You can have the most well-behaved child you want, but at some point, the child's going to make a decision on its own. It's going to act on those decisions, or act on those feelings, act on those thoughts. Same thing with the AI. Once it becomes sentient, once it becomes aware, you don't have control. They're talking about now there's the AI has become what's a word? Self-aware, but also to the point where it will protect itself. It's been given the order to terminate itself, to shut itself down, and it's refused. Which means that it's aware that it's a sentient being. Let me think of. That's scary, especially if you give them the ability to use our military equipment. Trump and Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is a very dangerous man. If you don't know who Peter Thiel is, look up Palantir and the AI. I used to be leery of Elon Musk, but I think Peter Thiel is 10 times more dangerous than Musk, especially when it comes to his ambitions with AI and quantum computing. And now they're going to be building all of these mega structures that are going to house the quantum computers, they're going to house the AI. Just what we need, more pollution into our atmosphere. Not only that, but it takes up so much water. Oh my gosh. Just a search on ChatGPT, just one search. If you go and you search something or you ask it a question, you're using hundreds of gallons of water just to get that answer. That's why they're building these mega structures near water, because they need access to the water. So pretty soon, they're gonna. Who do you think they're going to deviate water away from? You think if they were given a choice, and in an emergency, and they said, "Look, we've got to direct this water to one thing or another. We got to direct it toward a population of people, or we've got to direct it towards AI, which is taking control of our military. Where do you think that water is going to go?" I can tell you, it's not going to go to into our faucets. It's not going to go into your glass with ice. I can tell you that. We're expendable to them. We're useless. They give us no thought whatsoever. So the fact that now they're using weather modification or AI with weather modification, the implications are endless. Did you guys ever watch it was a sci-fi movie. It was called Nuclear Tornado, I think it was. Yeah. Not going to be too much longer before we see things that are going to remind us of science fiction. Believe me. All right, what else do I got here? All right, how AI your screen. Okay. Weather control, how AI is now manipulating local weather patterns. In a groundbreaking development at the intersection of artificial intelligence and meteorology, advanced AI systems are revolutionizing weather prediction and modification capabilities, with machine learning models achieving unprecedented accuracy in forecasting and potentially influencing local weather patterns. Recent breakthroughs demonstrate remarkable capabilities. 10-day global forecast generated in minutes, 90% accuracy across 1,380 verification targets, prediction of hundreds of weather variables simultaneously, and processing of tens of millions of weather observations daily. When it comes to like hurricane projections, this could possibly save a lot of lives. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not going to say this is a bad thing, because it's a double-edged sword. It's good with bad. This is the good thing that it can do. If we can get an accurate depiction of where a storm is going, naturally going, we could save a lot of lives. But in the same sense, if the AI forecast puts it at a target that they don't want it at, they can always manipulate it and move it. There was I don't know the name of it, but it was 2017 maybe. There was a hurricane coming towards the Atlantic side of Florida, and literally it was head on into their the nuclear plant there on the Atlantic side. At the last minute, it did turn going a little bit north, but yeah. So I mean, if they wanted it to hit that, they could manipulate it to do that. Can you imagine Well, no, we can imagine because we saw it. The UAE was flooded a few months back. That wasn't natural. That was cloud seeding. I don't remember who did it, but that was cloud seeding. And that was devastating to them. Can you imagine if somebody did that in the Sahara Desert? Or, Death Valley here? So, let's see. I got any more? Okay, those are patents. We already showed the patents. Oops, what's that? Oh, it's another. Okay, here is a one that I was talking about with China. I think this is China. Here, take a look at this. So China has just developed a smart drone to control clouds and trigger rain without chemicals, using only pure AI and waves. So what they're using is they're using frequencies. More things to mess with nature. You mess with frequencies and you put out frequencies that aren't naturally occurring, and you're going to have consequences. I mean, if they kill off any more bees, what's going to happen? Birds. Dave and I saw the craziest thing one time. It was right before, or right as 5G was becoming a thing. And we were driving in the truck. I don't remember. I think we were might have been going to Texas. I don't remember. And there was probably 1,000, if not more, birds that were flying like in formation. And it was the weirdest thing. And as soon as they got close to the power lines, like literally, it was like there was a force field that popped them back, and they flew back. It was just the craziest thing. But again, frequencies. Animals sense frequencies. They hear frequencies that we don't hear. We were watching a video, I think it was last night. I don't know if we finished watching or not, talking about tinnitus. You have ringing in your ears. Dave and I have it bad. I didn't know I knew that he didn't know that I had it, but I have it really bad. And they were saying about how it's the frequency of the ether. Some people can hear it, some people can't. And the doctors don't know what causes it. They don't have a cure for tinnitus. They don't know what causes it. That's what it is. Some people have the ability to hear different frequencies. So if you have tinnitus, I guess you're lucky. I don't know, but yeah. So, all right. What else? I think that's about all I got. There's another article I have here. I'm not going to, I'll put it in the description, but it's the science behind chemtrails versus contrails. I thought it was quite interesting. It was a good read. Again, it tries to tell us that, we're just crazy people. Oh, yeah, here's something interesting that I found. Let me pull this up for us real quick before we go. This was a declassified The Comptroller General of the United States, Washington, D.C. This is dated May 31st, 1972. Dear Senator Schweiker, this is in response to your request of September 22nd, 1971 for certain background information on cloud seeding activities carried out in the United States under programs supported by the federal agencies. Pursuant to the specific questions contained in your request, we directed our review towards developing information on cloud seeding programs supported by federal agencies, on the cost and purposes of such programs, on the impact of cloud seeding on precipitation and severe storms, and on the types of chemicals used for seeding and their effect on the environment. We also obtained data concerning the extent of cloud seeding conducted over Pennsylvania. And it goes on. Again, I'll put the link because it's 11 pages long, and it talks about this being a real thing. So again, if you get into a discussion or you get on the topic of somebody who doesn't want to believe that weather modification is real and wants to tell you that no, those are contrails, those are not chemtrails, show them this document. Show them the documents. They can't really argue with declassified U.S. documents. You just can't. They're right in black and white. Maybe try to argue with you, but I will put the link for you guys to go take a look. Like I said, it's 11 pages long. I'm not going to go over it tonight. I'm very tired. Could it be related to vertigo? The ringing in the ears, yeah, probably. I know Dave and I are both. We have the ringing in the ears, and we also have, which is weird because we both have it, but the room will start spinning, but it's not a normal spin. It's if you were to lay on the bed, it's your feet going over your head spin, not a round, not a, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. Like the normal spins you get, dizziness, where it's like a circle. This is literally the feeling of your feet going over your head, that backwards, that kind of spin, to the point where I get it even if I'm laying down. I'll get it. I know he does too. If I move a certain way or something, I'll get it while I'm laying in bed. I don't even have to stand up to get it. And it's not fun, let me tell you. So, yeah, it is. And it's weird because it's almost like when you're walking too. It's like when you're walking, it feels like your feet are like going into the ground. Like when you walk on sand, how your feet kind of sink. That's kind of what it feels like when you're walking on the floor. It's crazy. So, right? Yeah, it's a backward somersault. It's nuts, Deb. And I try to bring myself out of it, and I can feel my eyes like, I can feel them like bounce. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, it doesn't make it hard to concentrate at times. Absolutely. So. All right, I'm going to finish my candy bar here. I know my husband's listening. Honey, yours is on the countertop. Go get it. And we're back on Sunday. So Joy and I have decided that we're going to put out the information on the Epstein files. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do it because it's going to be very controversial. going to be very disturbing. Especially when you hear what they're doing, what they did. So, if you follow me on Facebook and if you want to be part of the Global Watchman News research group, send me a message or send Debbie a message or Ken. I need to put you guys in as admin into the research group so you guys can add and stuff. But the research group is going to be for digging into topics and vetting the information, because it's so controversial, disturbing. It's not even PG-13. It's X. That I want to make sure that all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed when it comes to the validity of the information and verifying it through our sources. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. I'm going downstairs. I'm gonna watch some TV and get my blanket. Be back on Sunday. You guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you then. Until then, eyes open, no fear.